So in order to have a $250,000 car, how much do you think you have to save?
Probably at least 75% of that.
75%. Okay. So, you know, that's gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of 180, 170, $180,000, right? Okay, so what's a target date when you might wanna get your car?
Midlife crisis, get it at 40.
You wanna get it at 40? Good. You know, hopefully the midlife crisis doesn't happen at 40 anymore. I think it happens later now, but no, but it can happen. You know, so let's say you want to get it at 40. You're right now, you're what, 17?
19 and
19? Okay. I was just making that up. So you got 21 years, right? $180,000. So it's around that, about $9,000. A year.
sounds right, yeah.
Okay. So if you break it down like that, you know, you first say $180,000, $180,000 sounds like a lot, right? Like, well, how am I gonna get that? I know some people I work with, they don't have $180,000 right now to retire on. So I mean, it's, but that's because it didn't say. But if you know that that's your goal and you got all those whys connected to it, and you say, I know I need to average $9,000 a year, right? We're not even going to put any sort of other details behind it right now. All we know is that so now, even if you wait 4 more years from now, right, and it turns out that now you have 17 and now you're working, right now, you know, it's still only going to go up a little bit. It's going to be about $10,000, $11,000 a year. So that would be maybe your goal. When you get your civil engineering job, is you're going to figure out how am I going to put away that amount of money, right? You also may figure out by talking to somebody, actually like myself, that you could invest, right? And you could actually have that money grow, right? So knowing certain things about how money works would actually allow you to say, well, guess what? If I put away $11,000 the first year, by the time that $11,000 itself might double, you know, twice in the time that I want to actually save for the car. So if I know that, that helps me realize how I reach my goal. So we just took one action step, but that could be an action step. I want to save $11,000 each year, right? And so the target date for that is simply that you're going to do that each year. You know, by the end of each year, you're going to do that, right? We're going to be out of time in a second, so why don't we go to the next slide? But do you get an idea how those action steps work? I just want to go through some things about taking action and what it means. Okay, so we'll go through these quick, but we'll talk about, you know, highlight a couple things. So in taking action, right decisions doesn't equal to success. And what I mean by that is that life is a series of approximations and course correction. So whenever somebody starts out, okay, they don't necessarily start off knowing exactly what to do. So we just we said, here's approximately what we want to do, right? Okay, but as you go along, you may get more information, right? You may find out that, you know, I really don't have to save $11,000 a year when I'm done. I might only have to save $6,000, right? But you can make those course corrections as you go along, right? You can adjust, you know, or you might say, you know what, $250,000 car, you know, is actually what I really want is this specific car, and I want to see if I can actually get it for, you know, $200,000. It's still a $250,000 car, right? Another thing about action is there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You know, and when I say that, that sounds kind of negative, but it's because nobody else has been down there before, right? So when you have a goal, you have a dream like that, nobody else, you know, certainly nobody in this room probably had that dream, has that same dream, right? It's not going to be like somebody's going to tell you exactly how to get there, right? So that's why you have to be willing to take that. You can go to the next one. Because
the light. I followed you as you moved your page.
Oh, did it?
See, with that.
You know what? That's interesting. Because I didn't know that it did that, so that's, but, if you wanna.
You want the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So, part of what that means is you have to be willing to go into the dark. So, and launch yourself into what they call a corridor opportunity, right? So, you know, in all the, anybody watching these scary movies or anything like that, you know how there's always a scene where you know, the person has to go in the basement or something like that, and the lights don't work, right? But what do? They go anyway. Now, in real life, I would say they're kind of idiots. I wouldn't go down there because, you know, but when you're talking about opportunity, you need to actually take that chance. So you want to go take off, right, and just do it. Because if you think too long about it, the lights don't work. I don't know if I want to go down that path, right? Nobody's done it before. I don't know if I want to do that. Well, you know, every great person, Jackie Robinson included, right, had to be willing to take that chance, right? They had to be willing to take that risk in order to actually get off into greatness, right? Faith is an action word. And I totally recognize it, Jim Carrey scene. So faith is an action word, and what that means is you always have to go do it, right, in order to activate it, okay? And I don't know how strong your faith beliefs are, but reality is no new thing has ever happened, whether people believe in God or not, doesn't even matter, right? In order for anybody to discover something new, they have to have faith. They have to believe that there's something out there that they haven't seen before. And they have to go after it. Otherwise, it would never happen. Right? Next. There's also something called the law of momentum. And you probably heard this in physics before, right? A body in motion tends to stay in motion until there's something that actually stops it, right? Well, and everybody knows that inertia is the body at rest will stay at rest, right? So anytime you have a goal, you have to move toward the goal. If you start moving toward the goal, you will notice things, right? When you identified you want a $250,000 car, did you start noticing more when you saw really expensive exotic cars? Did you start seeing them? Did you start, like, every time you see one, your eye is attracted to it, right?
Yeah.
So when you start moving towards something, when you start putting money away, for instance, it'll even start becoming more reality. I used to hate minivans, and then all of a sudden we had our third daughter, and it's like all of a sudden I started noticing minivans that actually I might be willing to drive, and it wasn't, before that, every minivan looked the same to me. Okay? But once I actually had to like think about this being a reality, and I moved toward buying a minivan, that became more, I started seeing differences. Self-discipline is a really important part of action, and there's a saying down there that talks about the pain of self-discipline will never be as great as the pain of regret. And one of the things is you don't go try and get your dreams, then you're going to be, 70 or 80. Oh, I wish I had done this, right? So if WNBA is one of your dreams, if you at least pursue it, right? You at least knew you tried, right? You actually had that opportunity. Otherwise, you're always thinking, what if, right? And that's what regret is about, right? It's about that what if piece. So the discipline part is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. So there's going to be a time, that first year, and you say, I want to save $11,000, but your friends are going to say, hey, let's go to, let's go hang out in Hawaii or whatever, right? Oh, if I go to Hawaii, that will like take $4,000. Yeah, but I want to go to Hawaii, right? You got to have the discipline. You got to say, you know what, here's my bigger vision, my bigger picture, right? And if I want that car, I know that it's even more important to save in that first year than it is to save in the 10th year. Go to the next one. Luck is, so you may have anybody heard the saying before that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So everybody's identified an opportunity, but in order for it to really come through. So when people see you driving your $250,000 car, they're gonna say, boy, you must have been lucky, right? Things worked out for you, but the reality of it is you had a plan, right, to meet your opportunity, right? So you wanted it, and you prepared for it, and you activated. So when you prepare, it attracts you to the opportunity that's at hand. Okay, it's still hard work, but you can get there. Next. Self-evaluation. You want to grow your strengths. Okay, so I asked you to write down what are some of those qualities and strengths that you had. So take a look at those and understand, how do I actually activate my strengths to move forward? You need to do those. And then you need to address what your limits may be. So we didn't talk about that a lot. And then lastly, with self-motivation. What I do is before I do anything in the morning, I take that first, I'll usually have an hour, but maybe half an hour, to actually, I actually get up and I pray. Sometimes I try and actually get something to get my body going by doing some type of aerobic thing, stretching, that kind of thing, to make sure I'm moving and ready for the day. It helps you just get going, and it also helps you figure out how you're going to activate what you want to do that day. Last slide. So hopefully this helps you a little bit. The biggest thing is that, I wish I could I could maybe send like this, especially this last slide or something. It's basically talking about having a daily planning and review ritual. So every day you're still getting up and you're understanding what you do in order to make that day a success. And every day you move a little bit closer to the goal that you want, right? So it comes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You have to take your time and make sure you keep that self-discipline going. So I think maybe even, we're over. So thanks for being a great audience. Enjoy the game. Good luck. Hopefully, you're enough to win, right?
And thank you so much for
Sure.
investing your time in these kids and encouraging
my
them.
pleasure.
We appreciate that, don't we?
I can't wait to see that $250,000.
Yeah, you're making me out in that.
They're all gonna be your best friends for a long time because they're gonna ride.
It's a 3-person car.